Hey, yo, folks, welcome back. Picking up right where we left off last time. Extermination. Call me paranoid, but I have a distinct sense. Oh, yeah. I have a distinct sense that we are about to get into the real bad time. We have arrived at where it all began. And I'm guessing boy, if there's ever a place where Alma had a focal point of rage, I'm guessing this is it. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that
Just heard
happened.
from level 1. There was heavy fighting there. Baker 2 isn't responding. Where the hell is everyone? Look out, grenade! What's your status? Target. We have a situation.
This must have been shipping, where they moved the clones out for another storage facility, probably at Perseus. Oh man. I get the distinct impression I'm about to have a fight with something heavy.
What's your status? We've lost a man. Squad.
Oh, just a secondary pass that you could use.
It was over there. We can't stop him. 9 o'clock.
I don't know what he hit me with, but that hurt. Well, folks, what have we learned from the years about cloning? It's just it doesn't end well. Like, it doesn't end well. Clever. Dang you. Back out.
They should have left us alone here together.
Look, man, if that's what you wanted, I wouldn't have argued. I really wouldn't. Like, no joke. Just at this point, I'd be willing to live and let live, but apparently not. This is where it all started. Boy, does it ever look like it. Man, she tore this place apart. And they just left it to rot. Jesus. No wonder it's haunted. With hate, rage, and anger in this place. Tanuka City.
Target is confirmed to be in the area. Keep your eyes peeled. Target acquired. We have a situation.
I think they got the...
I'm in trouble. Give me suppression fire. I'm in trouble. Get down.
Disposal units for defective units, I'm guessing. Wow. And you wonder why they hate you. Yes, if you're gonna build a secret hidden facility.
All units, Bravo Foxtrot, going now. Get to cover. Grenade, get down! Get down! See him.
Gotcha.
I'm in trouble. Get to cover. Have a visual. Sweetheart.
Well, he didn't lack for trying, that's for sure. Hit me hard enough that actually did some damage.
Right, they are mercs, but they obviously didn't cobble a team together to do this. This is a permanent freestanding army. Never seen anything like it before. There are no names, no ID of any kind on any of them. But they've got files on us. You, me, Betters, Chen. Whoever they are, they're connected. The more I see of this, the more I don't like it.
My buddy, I haven't liked it from start to finish. Don't need it.
I felt her reach out and walk through their minds.
Yes. And in doing so, she tore their minds to ribbons. Jesus. Let's try. There's a line, I forget if it's in 2 or 3, but there's a line I think where someone mentions that that hate doesn't die. Hate like that cannot die. To be fair, yeah, I could see that. Whatever it's due, these guys are no fools. You know that the smart thing to do is to use close combat heavy weapons like shotguns, grenade launchers, the cannon, in the hopes that it'll slow me down. Because I'm getting the drop on him, it ain't quite working out. Ooh, this just reeks of Boss Arena, don't it?
Let's end this fuck now.
I don't know what kind of armor these guys are getting, but these guys are way tougher than their rank and file. Huh. Ooh. Let's max out the grenade launcher just in case. And then we'll head upstairs. I think we're closing in on the finish for this game. And I also think I just majorly depleted the Nightcrawler's command structure, so we'll see.
Did I tell you about my brother? You remind me of him. I didn't like him either.
You didn't like him either.
I never met my brother until the day he killed me. We were a complicated family.
I'd say that's accurate. Where it all started. Heart of madness.
I want the vault open and us out of here in 5 minutes.
You don't want to do that.
Sir, Paxton Fettel has entered the area.
Ignore him. Get the vault open.
But
I said ignore him.
Seal the exit. Don't let him get away. Move in. Get to cover. Advance on target. Sir, the vault is open. We're going in. Did we get him? Evacuate the area.
Maybe you idiots did. Don't think it's helping.
What the? Where did that come from?
Well, not getting out that way. Guess we're heading down. Okay. Jeez. Seriously. I don't know what you idiots did to piss her off. She did. Apparently, she took it freaking personal.
I did warn you. This is not your affair. Leave.
Now you know for sure it's Fettel who's controlling the nightmares now. Which would make sense and actually makes a lot of sense in the later games when it turns out that he's the real threat, not Alma, but
I have the DNA. Prepare for extraction.
turns to try and slow me down. So it's clever. What's the old saying? There's always another way. Just gonna nuke the whole area. Oh, no. Point blank range on a grenade will kill you. But I'm gonna let this just run because we're near the end now. This is almost end game. Like ghosts wandering around, scratching for their memories. Stop trying to remember who they even are. Alright, this time, make sure I'm gonna quick save real fast. And that way I don't have to go through so much fight. Well, let's hope that these guys lost track of me because this used to be the lunchroom. I don't want to know what the meal of the day is. Got disoriented there for a second.
That is sending one of his tin men to kill me? Typical. Kill him, or don't bother returning.
down.
Looks like I'm gonna have to do this myself.
We got him. Target marked. Surround him. We've got him. Move in. Let's in.
Surround him. Is anyone ever looking at the target?
Come on, go down.
Killing me won't stop them. You are a fool if you think this is over.
Get topside once you've recovered the DNA.
All right, let's get out of here. I do believe that is the ending. The Night Creeper and his cronies.
We've got Delta Force choppers inbound. Let's move.
Can't be that easy. Knew it couldn't be that easy. And he's done.
Those choppers aren't gonna wait all day. Move out.
Alright. I'm gonna give you all of it. Sergeant, to the docks now. I do believe it is time we vacate. Indeed, I do believe it is time to vacate.
You did real good, son. Team's gonna need a new lieutenant after this. I think Shannon wanted to be you.
I tell you to ask him, but he just disappeared, so... I'd say that concludes that. So, Perseus Mandate. Perseus Mandate's an example of a good idea with a lot of potential that's never really ever gone past that. And it's unfortunate because I see a lot of really good ideas in expanding the universe of fear through something like Perseus Mandate, where you show other sides of the story, other aspects of it. And you could take that today into a real interesting sort of survival crafting type of deal, where you play as, like, instead of a super soldier, you start out as a civilian with just heightened reflexes for one reason or another. And then, once you get through a certain point, you can start crafting boosters, making new weapons, acquiring ammo. It'd be an interesting take on the subject, I suppose. That being said, there are issues, and I won't be the first to say this. I'm sure there were people who noted that the game, especially near the end, became almost a corridor shooter, like old school Wolfenstein and Doom, where it was just narrow hallways that lead into big open battlegrounds and then back into narrow hallways. And to be fair, like, Fear had a lot of that too. So did Extraction, but they tried their best to put interesting variations, different levels, different battlegrounds, and all the games did that to an extent. But at the end of Perseus Mandate, you get stuck into sort of like, run here, check the, go to the next quarter, check the ground, watch out for scarecrows, go to the next fight scene, take out the enemies, check the ground. Repeat ad nauseum. While it does add some more spooks and scares to the game, it doesn't really make much out of it. And I feel like that's why it didn't hit the way it was. I liked it, but I also think that a lot of the game's strengths for the original Fear were in its world, in its characters, in the fact that you had these things that were so mysterious, and you had to wonder why they were all happening, and then they just they had too little time. They couldn't pay it out. So then later on, they came back and they started paying it out again, and that in effect was able to make the game efficient, make it work. But yeah, now I'm very much of the opinion that the game could have, and honestly should have been, a much stronger, much more focused candidate. Like, there's a lot in the game that I feel could have been done differently. There's a lot in the game that I feel that should have been done differently. And end of the day, I feel like the biggest fault Fear had, when you tear everything else down, is that it felt like it was, what's the term? It felt like it was just an add-on. It didn't have anything that gave it a unique kick to it. The only real exception being the fact that you got to see the story of Fear both before and after from a different perspective, which was an interesting way of handling it. But I don't feel like that worked the way they expected it to. It's okay. It does fine, but I think that when we get into Fear 2, which will follow this, you'll have a better understanding why I feel like I've often said that Fear 2 did what the expansion should have, just vastly superior. Of course, it didn't hurt that it had an extensive technological update to work with and had a new engine to go through. But I feel like you look at Fear 2 and you see where Fear was going. And like, Fear 2 released on 2009. So you're talking almost 4 years after the original Fear. And in a lot of ways, like, Fear 2 really did reach a new level by pushing the technology forward using the newer technology, which at the time the top two consoles were the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. And of course, PC was hitting its stride too. It was really starting to break out into the market, so they launched it on that, but they made what I consider an error in that they did not include controller support natively. Now, it is notable that Fear 2 is actually named Fear 2 Project Origin. The funny thing about it is, Project Origin was originally going to be the name of Fear, or potentially a subname. And they just thought it wasn't catchy enough. They thought it wouldn't really elicit a reaction. And they thought, what if we named it Fear and then made it an acronym? And that's how that took off. So. But yeah, I do think that a very real problem with the game, especially for the two expansions, is that they kind of had an identity crisis, and they both went in different directions. Extraction Point, much more horror-driven, way more mind-screwed, which if you've seen my videos, you know what I mean by that. Whereas Perseus Mandate was much more action-heavy and a lot more jump scare focused, especially with the scarecrows. So I do think that overall they're good additions to the game, but I do feel like there's definitely more you could have done with them. And if I were given the rights to make Fear or to continue the Fear story, I wouldn't remaster it. Well, no, I take that back. I would remaster it, but I'd keep the game exactly the same, just with upgraded graphics and bug fixes, patches, that kind of thing. Everything else would be the same. Characters, story, designs, all of it, just upgraded. Now, what I would do to continue the story is I would take the game from Fear 3, from the ending of that game, what they canonically call the good ending. I'd basically take it from there and set it like 15 or so years ahead of it. And instead of playing the point man, you play as a survivor of the original incidents, the first 3 games. Of course, I would also reference the 2 expansions, but it's Fear 1, 2, and 3. And essentially, you were one of the few people in the city to survive in the final days of the Almaverse. And when the Almaverse finally collapsed after the end of the third game, your character essentially became unusually obsessive about finding out everything they could about Alma and what had happened. And that eventually leads him to a new generation of Fear operatives that recruit him, and you play as that character from the get-go, who has the enhanced reflexes through bioengineering and bioenhancement, genetic enhancement, as opposed to psychic abilities. But as the game progresses, I guess his psychic phenomenon begins to come back, and you do begin to see it. And you do begin to see a new version of Alma that is beginning to regain strength and is it's like the other half of Alma went completely psycho. Like the little girl Alma's at peace. She's gone. Everything's finally sorted for her. But the older version of Alma,
No one touches the source.
remember, nobody
but
touches the
me.
source with me.
We've got Morrison.
Losses.
Acceptable.
Yeah, they weren't after Alma. It was Fettel they wanted the whole time. So anyway, yeah, like I said, if I were to do any further follow-ons for this, I might do the bonus missions, but not now. For now, we'll go into Fear 2 from here. Now, I will say this. I do think that a new Fear game, especially using modern tech, with something similar to, say, a sort of Far Cry-esque style where you have a bit more freedom to explore, but you still have dedicated levels where you have to go in and do the battles, would be cool. Kind of like Elden Ring first-person shooter style, where you're going around collecting, information and resources and stuff to help you solve, the mystery of why all of a sudden this new version of Alma's coming back. But I feel like you need to have good writing, which this game industry is currently showing itself to be very poor at. You'd need to have designers who respect and understand the original games and will not try to modern audience the product. And yes, if they ever did make this game, Sweet Baby must be banned from ever laying a hand on it. If you don't know who that is, look it up. But I think the biggest issue with the game is that the Fear series had so much power and momentum, and then it squandered it because the third game just didn't land. It just couldn't keep going, and it just collapsed. Just like Dead Space 3, as a matter of record, which, sadly, I feel like that's a shame, because I love some of the concepts of Dead Space 3. I felt its greatest failures was the fact that it made a human enemy the main cause, instead of maintaining the necromorphs as the real nightmare, because adding a human foe just seems to be a cheap man is the real monster bullshit. I'm sorry. I also think that having them go to the planet was a dumb idea. I honestly would have preferred that it be way more space-based and the planet just be a stopover, but that's me. Anyway, this rambling's gone on way too long. I'm gonna cut it here. I will see you guys next time. Hopefully you've enjoyed the original Fear trilogy, Fear, Extraction Point, Perseus Mandate. And if you need anything, and if you have any interest in the further series, keep watch for Fear 2, which will be coming out after this one's completed. Which, this is the final episode. Expect it soon. I'll see you around. This is the Solo Gamer. You may call me Matt, and I'll see you later. Bye.